Right, in terms of transfers, this is what we all want to know about, and you guys watching at home as well, transfers. Look, there's still a week left in the window, pretty much. There's still time for Erik ten Hag to make additions to the squad. Manuel Ugarte, that deal, Crookie, looks like it's progressing along quite nicely. It's looking like it's coming to some sort of conclusion. Players allegedly sort of said, it's Man United I want, that's the priority. We've tried to make it work with the numbers. PSG, there's a willingness to do a deal there as well as us waiting for it. What's the latest?
Well, it's not done yet as we sit here recording on Thursday afternoon, but talks are progressing, as you say. I think at the moment, an obligation to buy after an initial loan deal looks the most likely. I think United are still hopeful that maybe they can move a player out and therefore be able to do the transfer straight away. The issue's always been the fee. The valuation that PSG have got is slightly higher than what United want to pay for a player who, let's be honest, it's pretty clear he's not got a future in Paris. He's been training away from the first team, I believe, and as you say, has made it clear that he wants to move to United. So I think it will happen, and that really is the main focus between now and next Friday, because we saw those gaps in midfield again. Yes, Casemiro, I think, was much better than he was at stages last season, but he's still tired in the second half. So I think this is a potentially really important deal for United to get done. Still a possibility they may bring in a left back, although maybe the debut from Mazraoui might just make them think twice about that.
He's got a dodgy injury record as well, so we've got to look out for that one. Angelina, how important is it for us to get Ugarte and fill the void in midfield?
You know what?
Or is there a void in midfield? How do you see it?
I think as much as I'm loving this new look Casemiro, I'm here for it. You don't want to put all of your hopes and dreams for this season on him, because I don't think it's fair to put it all on one player. At the end of the day, we do know that he does have the potential to get the tired legs. Could he get an injury, etc. So yeah, I think that a player like Ugarte is important. I know that there's a few people, because he went to PSG for, was it 60 million euros? more or less?
50 million pounds, yeah.
I think a few people are looking like, oh, well, you've spent all this money on this player, why are you getting rid of him and stuff? And I've read a few things about like Luis Enrique, and maybe like they just don't really mesh. I think stylistically it works. I think he's somebody who is going to be good on the counter press. He's going to press as well. Like, I think when you look at those features of what he can bring to the table, I think it is a good fit for Manchester United. And yeah, I don't want to put everything on Casemiro. So if we can get a player in like that, then I think we need to go for it. And again, it feels like we were talking about last week, having certain people in these roles at Man United, the powers that be, it doesn't feel to me like this is just some panic, let's just try and get someone. This is someone who clearly wants to come to the club, who, like I say, fits with the style of play. And it just all kind of makes sense.
Does it elevate others as well? Does it give more competition? Does it keep others on their toes? If you're Casemiro, yeah, you have got 3 years left on your deal on a lot of money. But now, this kid's coming in from PSG, potentially to take your spot. Can it breed competition, Crookie?
Well, it can't do any harm on that front. I think everybody needs to be kept hungry. And maybe part of the issue with Casemiro last year was that he knew pretty much he was guaranteed a starting place most weeks. Interested to see what they do with Christian Eriksen. I think he might well be the fall guy, but is anybody going to come in and pick up his wages between now and next Friday? Doubtful, potentially. So, yeah, listen, the more competition you can get, the better, because United's injury record since the start of last season has been horrific. And already this season, you've got a couple of key absentees. So I think if you can try and get 2 players for every position, that would be ideal.
Yeah, I was doing like a deeper dive into some of his stats, Ugarte, to just marry it up to what Casemiro's are. And to be fair, we're probably doing Casemiro a bit of a disservice, because I compared it to last season, and obviously he wasn't very good last season. But I also did do it with the season before. And what I found is that in terms of where Ugarte excels is he doesn't lose the ball as much. So he lost the ball less times than Casemiro does per 90. The regains, how much times he gets the ball back, interceptions, the ground duels, how many duels he wins. And I looked at their heat maps as well, and he plays slightly further forward than Casemiro in terms of, if you think about what we're missing, someone who play a little bit higher up, so you are going to leave that space behind, but you've got the legs to get back in there and retrieve the ball. And that's been a massive Achilles heel for our midfield. So, of course, you have to take into context, he's playing in Ligue 1 for PSG, they've got the ball, it's a bit different. But, he's won the most tackles in the league in the last 2 seasons in Portugal and in Liga. So that's the type of player you're getting.
It is ridiculous, by the way, and then maybe you asked about what my subtitle could be at the start of the podcast. Glazer basher, but then I guess we all are. But
nothing wrong with that.
But the fact that United haven't got that deep-lying midfield star that every other big team, not just in the Premier League but in Europe, have got, and we've not had one since Michael Carrick retired. I mean, that is a dereliction of duty. I was saying 7 years ago, go out and sign Declan Rice. Look at the difference he's made to Arsenal.
Exactly.
So they've got to get this deal done, but I trust Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox. They're good football people, unlike the Glazers and Ed Woodward. They know what they're doing.
Correct, and that's why those guys, well, the Glazers are, but that's why people like Ed Woodward and people who've been making bad decisions aren't here anymore. And just lastly on Ugarte, how much pressure does it put on Eric Ten Hag in terms of that's another position addressed? It's strength in depth. You're looking him to probably come in and start, or at least feature heavily. How much does that ramp up the pressure on Eric?
I would like to think that he's already feeling the pressure. I want my manager to be thinking, I've got to get this right. I think he must be aware of this is do or die for him. He has to hit the nail on the head this season. So I think, maybe a little bit more pressure in that. I'm not saying that he's going to turn around and use excuses, but you don't really have an excuse of that position if you've got someone in who's strong and competent. But I think it's a huge positive because it's just going to hopefully make his life easier, make the team's life easier, and it's going to lead us to more success. So I think, maybe a little bit of pressure of, all these pieces of the puzzle are fitting now. I have really got to be on my A game, but that's what I want from my manager anyway. So I think overall it's a massive positive. And Ten Hag wants players. United fans want more players. We're getting players that seem to be the right fits these times. It's not just throwing a ridiculous amount of money at somebody and just hoping for the best. It seems like it's been measured and considered. So I'm really happy. I hope it does go over the line.
They seem to be getting their primary targets as well. You didn't hear about too many other forwards other than Xerxes. De Ligt has been on the radar for a long time now, but certainly since the start of this transfer window. And there's been mention of one or two other midfielders. Sander Berge, thank heavens he's gone to Fulham, by the way, and not United.
didn't fancy him?
No chance. But Ugarte has been at the forefront of their mind all summer. So that's been another Achilles heel of United, not being able to close out deals, not getting their top targets. So maybe that's a sea change as well.
Yeah, another rumour that we saw yesterday, or reports, Ben Chilwell apparently offered to Angela's laughing straight away. Ben Chilwell apparently offered to Manchester United, not in Enzo Maresca's plans, like a lot of players are not in Enzo Maresca's plans. Told that he's surplus. What sort of money would this involve if Man United were to stupidly get involved in trying to bring Ben Chilwell to the club? What sort of deal would it be?
Well, first and foremost, I broke this story yesterday on talkSPORT. It's more that Chelsea have offered him to Manchester United than United have shown any serious interest at this stage. He was a player that they were linked with earlier in the window when maybe they were assessing the options at left back. I think Marcus Alonso was another who was on their list before. So I don't think it's close or likely at this stage. But what I would say, if you look at United in previous windows, Marcel Sabitzer came a little bit out of the blue because Christian Eriksen picked up an injury. Sergio Reguilon came in when Luke Shaw picked up yet another injury. So,
get him again.
If they do have issues at fullback, I'm not sure Ben Chilwell's the worst idea in the world on loan. Someone who's proven in the Premier League. Obviously, he's got his own fitness problems, but this is someone a couple of years ago who's going to be a mainstay in the England team. So I'm not quite as negative. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm not as negative as you two.
Crookie, let me tell you this, right? Ben Chilwell, right, has missed. You know
this is the problem.
How many games do you think he's missed in the last 3 seasons?
Go on.
Just give me a number. How many do you think?
How many has he played?
No, how many has he missed?
I was looking at like his Premier League seasons, and it's like in total Premier League seasons, you're in like 90 plus or something.
50
just in the last 3.
Just in the last
I reckon
3,
he's missed
right?
50.
50.
Yeah. About 40 or something.
100 games.
Wow.
In the last 3, you just said his whole total Premier League, he was like 90 or something.
Yeah.
In the last 3 seasons, he has missed 100 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we have Luke Shaw.
So I take it all back.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm just going to put it out there and then we can discuss further. We have Luke Shaw, who has also missed a ridiculous amount of games. On what planet would, and I'm not even going to put this at their doorstep because I don't think they'd be stupid enough to do it, with all respect to Ben Chilwell. On what planet would Ineos be on if they think our biggest problem has been unavailability?
Yeah, you're right.
What should we do to solve it? Let's go and get the most unavailable left back, even more than Luke Shaw in the last 3 years.
Yeah, no, fair
point. And he's not as good as Luke Shaw.
Exactly. And this is a guy who,
ridiculous.
In
I'm
England,
with you.
behind Luke Shaw. So
Yeah.
we're going to sign the guys behind Luke Shaw for England and doesn't get in. Then we're going to bring him to Man United. Unbelievable.
I'm with you.
No.
I think it's the most. When I saw it, I laughed like
100
I just laughed. The most ridiculous thing I've heard, because it's exactly like you say. We've got Luke Shaw. We've got Tyrell Malacic. Where he is, I don't even know.
Yeah,
Is he all right?
He's back. He's on his way back. But again, there's a long road back.
So let's bring in a third option who is also injured all the time. Not even as good as Luke Shaw, in my opinion.
100%
The whole
good.
thing sounds ridiculous. We've just bought a new fullback who can play left and right. We have Diogo Dalot as well, who can play left and right. I can't see Ben Chilwell. No disrespect to the guy. It's not like he's out there trying to get injured on purpose or something.
Of course not.
Like, injuries, it must be a very terrible thing to go through, to constantly be in that battle of trying to get fit and having things crop up. Must be very difficult, but I do not want to see that man's name on a Man United shirt. I can't take it.
Tell us how you really feel, Angelina.
That's strong.
I can't take it.
Well, that's
I
true,
can't
though.
take
It's true. Like, he can't.
It doesn't
Crook,
make
he
logical
can't come to
sense.
Man
No,
United.
I understand where you're
situation
coming
we've had,
from.
he can't.
I understand where you're coming from. Now you pointed out that, that's
It's staggering, isn't it? It's
Stat
not
got him.
incredible.
The stat got
So I was
him.
doing some bits and I
Incredible
went,
number
hang
of
on, because sometimes you can build up like a misconception or a narrative. Again, De Ligt's apparently injury prone and he's terrible. When you actually look at the record, doesn't quite stack up that way. So I thought, let me actually look at the figures.
Yeah.
Missed 100 games in the last 3 seasons.
And that's
Just shut
all
the laptop and walked
competitions.
off. Yeah, exactly.
Well, hopefully Dan Ashworth's done the same.
Can we send him those stats somehow,
yeah.
just in case?
Ineos, I would go as far as to say, I don't believe Ineos will be stupid enough to do that.
It doesn't really fit the profile, does it?
Not at all. So let's see on that one.